All right, welcome to the final video in this. It's probably one of the most important videos. It's just kind of last. Um, my hunt is done. I'm done. Pat myself on the back. Go home. What happens now? So really, there's a process, right? So there's kind of like planning your hunt and writing all the puzzles for it. Admittedly, writing takes a long time. Verifying that like it's correct with ClueKeeper. That's really where we're at in the process. Um, there's a lot more to the process. So there's, sending out invitations to have people play in this thing, trying to run a play test, editing based on the play test results, publishing the hunt, launching the hunt during the hunt, yada, yada, yada. We're going to go through a couple more of these steps just so you can see how it works. We've also had some people, some Shinteki people that work here at ClueKeeper write us a best practices. They've run just hundreds of hunts, and so they've made us a best practices doc. I strongly recommend. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and require. Not sure how I can require you to do something, but what the heck, I'll say it's required. So I'm going to require you to pause the video and go read this. It's kind of a long doc. I give you that. But there's like planning, what types of things should you be thinking about in the planning, the writing, the verifying, the invitations, the play testing. I recommend you read the whole thing, but at a minimum, read through like the first 6 or so, right? So just pause the video, go read these things, read them all the way to the bottom. They're all useful for you. And then come back and we'll talk some more. All right, hopefully you read that. So I'm going to do some of these steps, right? So we're past the verifying. We're not going to send any invitations because I'm not really going to send invitations. But I am going to pretend like I'm preparing for a play test. So what would I do next? So if you read the doc, it recommended that for your play test, you add the word play test to the beginning. So I'm going to say play test card games, and I'm going to save it with that change. The next thing I want to do, and these steps you may just want to watch, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make a real registration for my playtest team. So test hunt is where you create test registrations. Manage hunt is where you create real registrations. Within the Manage Hunt tab, you'll notice that there's an area for the publication status, like what is the status of this thing? Is it still in development or is it actually published? And there's a big button that says published. There's also a place where you can register teams. You can register teams before you publish, or you can register them after. If you register a team before, so we'll just say Playtest A is their team name. So they're now registered for the playtest. You'll notice that it doesn't give you a hunt code until you've published it. So I'm going to go ahead and say publish this hunt. And so I can say I've thoroughly tested it. I agree to paying ClueKeeper for registrations. And this hunt is now ready for teams to play. You'll notice that there's a PayPal button here because it actually is going to charge you $10 for a real registration. And so I recommend that for playtest, you do go ahead and do that, right? All right, so I got mine added. I actually made another one too. I added Bloodshot as a playtest team. It was kind of accidental, but I was just testing. Once you've got a real hunt code, you would give this to somebody else, right? So you wouldn't test this yourself. This would be what you give to somebody else. Just to show it though, this is what they would see. So they would register for playtest card games. And you'll notice that the word test does not appear here, right? So they're actually using a real regular registration, and it works just like the game that you've been testing with your test registrations. They just don't have a reset hunt. And one of the reasons for doing this is just so you can kind of practice, actually running the hunt like for real. So they'll actually play this, and a playtest should be completely real. Like they should be like running around to your locations. They should be doing just everything, right? And so that's the idea, is to try to get their feedback. So one feedback that I would expect from a team playing my hunt is that it's kind of confusing how there was a start code for one puzzle but not for others. I recommend you kind of always use them or never use them, right? But you can see that they finished. They got a score of 300. So they were an actual registration. I did that quick, but that should be like a whole day of playtesting, right? Once people have finished, you can actually see that there's a leaderboard, right? So my playtest A team finished with a score of 300. They completely crushed this thing, 14 seconds, 9, and 6. must have cheated. Total solve time was 38 seconds. Or solve time was 30 seconds. Total time was 38 seconds. They did an excellent job. Once your hunt is done, like your playtest is done, you should go ahead and close it as well. What closing the hunt does is it finalizes the results. Like there's no more results coming in. This is it. You might want to just make sure the leaderboard looks just right, because you can edit the leaderboard before you close it. Once you've finished with a hunt, like once it's closed, what you would do for the real event, so this one is closed, is you would actually duplicate an existing hunt. So I would duplicate my card games playtest, and so I would change the name on this one to card games. And so this is going to be the one that I use for the real event. And so this would be my chance to edit. So I might like add start codes in other places, or fix things up before I'm ready to do the real thing. And then, once you're ready for the real thing, you'll do kind of the same steps. You'll publish it, you'll register teams, and then you'll actually run the hunt. Again, a lot of those details are covered in the best practices doc. So I really recommend you just kind of know everything about that. All right, so I think that's where we're going to stop. We kind of went through running your play test, duplicating the hunt for your real event, the leaderboard, which you should come very familiar with. And when you really run a play test, you'll feel really comfortable with this stuff. And that's where I'm going to choose to stop this video series, is at the editing phase. I hope you really enjoy the ClueKeeper platform. I think it really adds a lot of value for you, making great experiences for your players. And I find it a lot of fun. All right, so there's going to be some more videos that I'm going to make. Hopefully you'll find some of those useful as well. See you later. Bye.